if I was not perfect, that it would mean that they wouldn't love me. Good morning. Welcome back to the vlog. Over the last while, I've been doing a lot of sort of like homework and sitting in on classes and courses and reading books around sort of personal development, both like in your personal capacity and in business as well. And it's made me think about quite a number of things. And I thought that for this episode, we'll do an honest catch up because we haven't done one in a while. Before we get into the video, about 75% of you who watch my content here on the channel are not already subscribed to this channel. So I would really encourage you to hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow. And as the channel grows, we can bring you bigger, better, more engaging content as we go. So I can't tell you how much it means if you hit that subscribe button. It goes a really long way. So do the thing. Also, I think we are in need of coffee. Lots and lots of coffee. Yes, the answer is always yes to coffee. So over the last while on this channel, we've sort of started honest catch-ups, which are really spaces for me to really deep dive and talk a little bit about my mental well-being, how I'm doing in my personal life, which sits a little bit sort of outside the context of the more, I guess, exciting sort of elements that exist on this YouTube channel. And I've really enjoyed them in a particular way, and based on how all of you have responding to those videos, it's been really awesome. So we are continuing to do honest catch-ups. I'm going to try and do them at least once a month. A little bit of coffee. So I think today I actually wanted to share something with all of you that isn't like, I guess, the easiest thing ever. It's one of the things that I had, I guess, worked through in therapy, and it seems like a lot of those kind of things have now started surfacing and manifesting in my sort of day-to-day work, professional and personal life. So it's kind of like coming full circle, and I thought I'd share a little bit about that with you. So I only came out in my late 20s, and part of that process for me personally around trying to wrap my head around what it meant for my life and what it meant going forward, but also at the same time reflecting on what my life had been. An important part of that was going to therapy, and I was in therapy for, I think, about 2-ish years. And this is like a while ago. Therapy was really great for me because it gave me an additional set of tools to be able to, I guess, navigate my life, navigate the world, and sort of do a lot of work around, I hate like using Oprah language, but like to heal certain aspects of myself and things that had happened to me in my life. And so therapy was incredibly great for that. And so during therapy, one of the very strong things that started to come out was around, I guess, how I have been historically interacting with and presenting myself to people in a very particular way that wasn't the most healthy thing ever. Over the years, a lot of people have asked me, would I guess, feel different, and would I have a different life had I come out earlier? And I found that question such a odd and difficult question to answer, because your life is your life and you know it from the position that you are in. And yeah, maybe if I did come out when I was younger, I would have a very different experience, a very different life, and I wouldn't be me. It's probably likely that I wouldn't work in the spaces that I'm working right now. It's likely that I would have never started this YouTube channel. I think one of the things that was so like incredibly apparent to me when I came out was language, and finally having the, I guess, words, language, lexicon to articulate how I felt about myself, about my identity in a very specific type of way. And I didn't have that language as a kid. And that created a whole set of things around my childhood and how I was growing up. I guess because I didn't have the language, I could never express that I was a woman, that I was a girl, that I felt femme, that I felt uncomfortable in my body. Instead, that manifested in other sorts of ways, with my parents, with my friendships, with my, later in my life, in my sort of romantic relationships, I guess. For the longest time, I had always presented the best version of myself that I possibly could. So I was always trying to be the smartest kid in the class. And I remember this particularly when I was in primary school. Not so much in high school, because I got real lazy real quick. But I'd always put my best foot forward, and I'd always try to be my best self, around my friends, around my parents, around my family members. I mean, I do have to say that my parents were incredible. They did an amazing job of raising me, and I had a pretty good childhood. But there were these things that I felt that if I didn't perform in a particular way, if I didn't behave in a particular way, if I was not perfect, that it would mean that they wouldn't love me. And this is not them specifically as in my folks, this is everybody in general. I think because I didn't have the language to articulate who I was and what I was and how I felt as a kid, the closest point of reference was that I felt deeply uncomfortable about presenting in a particular way. And I felt if I didn't present in that way, that I would be rejected, that I would feel all the bad feelings. So if I could just be perfect and that sort of ideal, I guess, version of me at that time, then those feelings would go away, that people would love me and I would be okay and safe. But I carried that for the longest time in my personal and my professional workspace. I think it's part of the reason that I'm driven in a particular way to if I do something, I want to do it well, and I want to, I don't know, maybe people please in a particular way. If I set my mind to a task, I am doing that thing and I am excelling at that. And if I can't, I'm ditching it. I'm that's not for me. And so the psychological placement of that started to f me up a little bit. Because if I couldn't be perfect, my everything around me would crumble. I would go into depression. I would have more regular flare-ups of anxiety, and that was not a vibe. And so suddenly being in therapy and unearthing this and making that problem or that mode of thinking visible and tangible for myself, suddenly it opened the possibility to potentially let that go. And I can't tell you how much that decision to actively not be perfect and be okay with failing and be okay with how other people may perceive or judge me, that changed my life completely. Suddenly I had permission from myself to be myself and do what I wanted without necessarily thinking about what other people thought of me first. And what I thought of me first was the thing that mattered. Part of the reason why I'm sharing this with you is also informed by the sort of context that I work in, the context that all of us sort of live in. I work in media, I'm visible, I'm here on YouTube. And it is very like presentation forward, you know, like my face is on camera all the time, so I'm visible, I'm exposed, I'm tender, vulnerable to all of that stuff, right? And historically, for me, the first thought is, what am I going to look like on camera? And is that okay for me to present in that particular way? And so many of us do this in our day-to-day lives. When we see somebody or we meet them and we greet one another and somebody asks you, how are you? You're not going to say like, oh, I had like a really, really terrible morning because my partner did this and I'm feeling so emotional about that. You don't say that. We say, I'm fine. And so these little moments of presenting ourselves in a particular way that thinks about what other people think of us before we do that adds up to like a lifetime of doing that. And like I don't want to do that anymore, you know. And it's funny because I was having a conversation about exactly this yesterday, that the reason why I will shoot a video like this for you while I've like literally just woken up, while I have no makeup on, while I'm still kind of in my half-ish pajamas. Part of that is because there is a rawness to that, and there's very little to hide behind that sort of beautiful presentation to the world when I'm showered and done and have makeup on and my hair is great like this. I don't know what's happening here, but you know what I'm saying. And had I not gone to therapy, like, I wouldn't be here. I don't think I'd be able to have this kind of conversation with you or with anybody for that matter. So what is the point of all of this? I guess I'm sharing this with all of you so that I guess if there is someone who has been, I guess, struggling with their self-image, struggling with the weight and the gravity and the real struggles of dealing with other people's feelings and perceptions of yourself before yourself. I hope that this in some way helps you, gives you a little bit of insight, gives you courage. I don't know. I really don't like giving advice and telling people what to do because, you know, it's your life and you should do what you want. But hopefully if I share some of my experience and my thoughts and my feelings, that maybe some of that resonates with you in some kind of way. Okay, cool. Thank you for sticking around. I hope this video brought you a little bit of value. Again, if you are not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and you can turn the bell on for notifications so that you're notified for when we upload more videos. And I'll see all of you in the next one. Ciao. Oh my god, it's my mother's birthday today. Like, how old is she now? My mother's in like her 60s, I think. I'm sorry, mommy, if I'm like outing your age here on the channel, but yeah, I think I should go and visit her. Also, I haven't been back to my mom's place since I moved here to this house. Yeah, so I think maybe a visit to Kayla is due. The first cup of coffee in the morning is honestly the best. Okay, bye.